how y'all doing? I'm T. What the hell? Oh, my bad. I actually had my knees in the chair. So yeah. How y'all doing? Actually, meow, meow. There we go. I am TJ. Thanks for tuning in, and this is gonna be one interesting episode to say the least. Is not only as I will be talking, well, actually reviewing another retro game. I'm also going to be talking about a convention that is turning 10 this year. For those of you who are following Wind Chaser Productions on Twitter, you would have seen or either follow Wind Chaser Productions, that's at WC Productions 13, or my personal Twitter page at Machine XP, you would have known that I stated that PlayOnCon turns 10 this year. So with that stated, let's get to work. So, as I stated at the top of the program in the opening monologue, that PlayOnCon is turning 10 this year. I mean, at the moment, the weekend passes for 2017, I think, are up for grabs on its website. If you were hoping to get a hotel room, unfortunately you are out of luck. The hotel rooms have been sold out. I mean, they are the moment that the hotel rooms went up for grabs, they were basically gone just like that. And it's gonna be the same for the both the party dorm and the non-party dorm, which reminds me, for the fifth consecutive year in a row, which is a feat within itself, PlayOnCon 10 is going to be July. Give me a sec here, because I actually don't have the website itself pulled up, so that's actually my bad, because I told myself I totally would have the website pulled up, but I kind of slacked off and didn't actually have it up when I needed it. So in fact, I can actually minimize it so I can actually. There we go. All right, so unfortunately, the hotel rooms, the ones that have the two queen beds, are completely sold out. The next set of dates that the Poxters will need to keep on their calendar is February 12th. That's when the sales for party and non-party dorm rooms open up. The last one would be for February 19th. That would be for the cottage bunks. Now, the date itself for PlayOnCon 10 is July 6th through the 9th. And much like I said, for the fifth consecutive year in a row, it is going to be at the Alabama 4-H Center in Columbiana. Now, one downside to those who are new to PlayOnCon, depending on where you're coming from, you're going to be in for a drive just to get to the actual site. But I will say for those returning Pocksters, it's going to be in the same spot, or at least the convention itself is anyway. Now, where everything's going to be at is still up in the air. Of course, there's going to be board games. There's going to be tabletop RPG games. D&D, Pathfinder is a big one, and the open gaming. I think open gaming is. I think the open gaming is going to be open 24/7. Again, I'm not sure. Do not hold me to that. That you will have to go on to playoncon.com for yourself to find out about that. So, as far as now, of course, unfortunately, the hotel rooms that they have on site are sold out. Now, they don't have any info on an overflow hotel as of yet. So you will have to go on to playoncon.com, to find out for yourself exactly when they will actually have that info up. But in the past, the overflow hotel has been the Hampton Inn, just off the Columbiana exit on I-65 South, I think. Yeah, sounds about right. So, now, the list of events from the past. There's been quite a good bit of them. Last year they've had an apprentice track. Costume contests are always a blast. They've had live musical talents. They had in the past, and I think he's returning again this year, Professor Shy Guy. His music, I've heard his music. His music is 8-bit infused, or infused with 8-bit themed music. I mean, he's a great guy, hell of a performer. The Green Seed will also be making their return to POC this year. And honestly I have not heard the Green Seed. But as far as artists actually performing at POC this year, at the moment is Professor Shy Guy and the Green Seed. That's just those two artists as of now. There may be more. I'm pretty sure there's going to be more, considering the fact that, let's face it, PlayOnCon's turning 10 this year, and it's pretty big for a convention such as PlayOnCon to, one, be in the convention for going on 10 years, plus be at a site for 5 consecutive years, and that's saying something within itself. I mean, I think PlayOnCon is Alabama's only convention. Well, correction, Birmingham's only convention, or at least around the Birmingham metro area anyway, that's been in the same spot for going on 5 years consecutively. But see, moving on, they also have game shows, gaming panels, and workshops. That's always a good thing. Costume workshops, where let's say you went to PlayOnCon and you wanted to make a costume, but don't have a general idea of what you want to dress up as. I mean, maybe you want to make your own version of, let's say, Captain Picard, or maybe you want to make your own Darth Vader, or even come up with your own unique idea. That's where the costume workshops come in. They've also had fan guest of honor elections. I kind of miss that just about every year. They also have a charity casino, and though I have not been personally, I do have gotten the vibe that the charity casino has been very successful, and hopefully has continued success throughout the year. So now, the of course the PlayOnCon directors are going to be updating the info that they would love to give out to you guys as time gets closer and closer to PlayOnCon, because we're still in February and we still got a ways to go. But I have no doubts that the PlayOnCon directors are going to make this PlayOnCon a very memorable PlayOnCon. This would be my ninth consecutive PlayOnCon, and I, I'll I will go out on a limit. I can't speak for everybody, but I can at least speak for me. But just about every year that I've been to PlayOnCon thus far, I've had a blast. I mean, I go to a convention and I basically get to be me, a hardcore gaming nerd. And speaking of games, there's actually one game I get to, as not I get to, is the fact that I'm going to. So we're going to take a little break so I can get me a drink of water because I am getting a little thirsty. But we'll be back. So, needless to say, it took me a while to figure out which retro game I wanted to bring to the dance today. And I figured I would go with Mutant League Football. Because who can say no to not only playing a very popular game, but play said very popular game as, well, popular sport, I should say, as a troll, a skeleton, a superhuman, or an extraterrestrial alien, and kill the ref. I mean, that's one of the few things that I absolutely love about Mutant League Football. And every team in the league, or in the Mutant League anyway, is ranked on the number of skulls that each team may be ranked by, with, of course, 0 being the weakest and 5 being the among the best of the best. And the one thing, and I actually kind of found this out just recently because I didn't know it then, but I know it now. There are some Mutant League players that are in this game that I'm reviewing to you now that actually have some actual NFL references too. For instance, one quarterback goes by the name of Joe Magician. This, of course, is making reference, and I would assume homage to one of the great quarterbacks from the San Francisco 49ers, Joe Montana, a running back, Bones Jackson by name. At, it shouldn't be really a surprise. You take the NES out of Bones Jackson's name, and you get one of the one of the best running backs out of what was then known as the Los Angeles Raiders, Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson actually came from Auburn University. Little fun fact for you there. I'm I'm not sure about any other Mutant League players and any NFL affiliation that they may have, but there's Bones Jackson, and Joe Magician are the two main ones that crossed my mind. I was like, really? Okay. But getting into the game itself, there are two conferences: the Toxic Conference and the Maniac Conference. I can't really name off the teams, and well, at least the conferences they go to, because you know, multiverse theory. Go figure. So let's start with the team that is basically ranked though on the bottom of the totem pole, bottom of the food chain, and that would be the 60 Whiners. Come to think of it, the team name itself is kind of giving well, at least trying to pay some kind of homage to the San Francisco 49ers. Although the comparison between the 60 Whiners and the San Francisco 49ers is very far few in between. And there was to, and if there was if there was to be a match, a traditional football game between both the San Francisco 49ers and the 60 Whiners representing the Mutant League, and of course you got the 49ers representing the National Football League, the NFL, San Francisco 49ers would basically mop the floor with its mutant counterpart. Yeah, the 60 Winers are that bad. Their skull ranking zero. Zero. They are the only zero skull team on the Mutant League roster. Now, while there are no actual five skull teams, because the highest that a team is four, and there's a decent number of four skull teams out there. But there are three teams in the Mutant League that are right at the top. There is the Toxic All Pros, which is basically a team consisting of the best players from the Toxic Conference. The Maniac All Stars, of course, puts together the best players in the Maniac Conference. And then you have the Galaxy Aces. I mean, by statistics alone, they are number one at everything. They're also at 5 stars. The Galaxy Aces consist of players from the entire Mutant League itself. Now, when playing against the computer, because I seriously doubt this tactic will work against another player. But but by the way, when for those of you who actually have a copy of the if you for those who actually have a copy of Mutant League Football, whether it be the hard copy for the Sega Genesis or much like I did with the Sega Genesis emulator, when playing against the computer and a traditional game, one of the main calls that they're going to call is defensive or offensive pass interference. But is going to be mainly defensive pass interference. But that penalty gets rarely called, if at all. It's Mutant League Football, for crying out loud. So when well, actually, let me backtrack. There, each team has a nasty audible that you could do on both the offense and defensive side of the ball. Now, depending on the team that you choose, will determine the nasty audible you get. But every Mutant League team that is in the Mutant League itself all share one audible together, and that's Kill Ref. Now, unfortunately, killing the ref using the Kill Ref nasty audible will cost you 5 yards. I'm just putting that out there. So give me a break. I'm gonna take a break and we'll be right back. Don't go away. Give me a second. Let me just there we go. So now with Mutant League Football, and it's basically one of my to-go-to games for the Sega Genesis, and I honestly I really can't say no when it comes to either A. throwing dynamite at the other team while I'm trying to get off a pass, or dropping dynamite after for a defender to stumble upon and blow up while I'm trying to gain enough yards for either a touchdown or a score. Whichever comes first. Now, unlike college and pro football, the only call that you'll have to worry about when you're playing defense is defensive pass interference. That's about it. Other than that, the only time you'll even remotely hear or see the ref make any penalty calls is if a team bribes the ref and then the ref just makes some off the wall penalty call. The overall control system of Mutant League Football is pretty much straightforward. I mean, whether it be on offense or defense, you bring up the audible screen where the first time you press the A button, whether on offense or defense, it actually brings up the audible screen, whether you want to do a run, pass, or a nasty audible. And from there, you can either press A, B, or C to select either a run, pass, or nasty audible. And depending on the the second button you press when you bring up the audible screen will determine which audible you want to call. While you can only use one nasty audible once. Well, let me take that back. Every team has two nasty audibles that they can use. Those two nasty audibles you can use once per half. Now, the kill ref nasty audible you can use just about every play, but it's going to cost you 5 yards every time you use it. To kind of, I'd say, get away with killing the ref and not lose any yards, especially if you're on defense. After a play is called, and I'm actually giving you guys this tip because I do it myself, and most of the time it actually works. But after a play is called, well, after a play is stopped or a play is dead, however you want to call it, and the ref comes up to place the ball where it was marked down, just basically go up to the ref and now I'm not going to say that it's going to work 100% of the time, but most of the time, if you basically run the player that you're controlling at the time into the ref, chances are it's gonna either A, knock the ref down, or B, straight up kill him. This is probably the best way to kill a ref if you're on defense and not worry about the 5-yard penalty for ref bashing. There is a defensive audible that will also cost you 5 yards, and that's QB bashing. That's when the defense goes in and basically tries to bum rush, ultimately kill the QB on the offense. Now, of course, with the C button on offense, you get to snap the ball. The B button is basically there to allow you to switch characters, and if you have the reserves on, every time you switch to a different character, whether it be on offense or defense, it'll show you a little bar at the bottom of the player itself to let you know how much health that specific football star has left. Now, with that being said, the with that being said, PlayOnCon 10 is going to be held July 6th through 9th at the Alabama 4-H Center for the fifth consecutive year in a row, which is a feat within itself. The hotel rooms that they have on site, unfortunately, are sold out. The dorm rooms, I'm pretty sure, go on sale tomorrow. So, so for those of you who are looking to get a party dorm or non-party dorm room, I would strongly advise for you to get the to go on POC's website and get that taken care of before they end up selling out. A another another announcement about PlayOnCon. I mentioned it earlier in the show that Professor Shy Guy and the Green Seed are, I think, the only two confirmed artists that will be making their way to PlayOnCon 10. Of course, it's still February, it's still early, so there's going to be a lot more info added to it. To get up to date info on PlayOnCon and who's going to be there for PlayOnCon 10 this year, go to their website at playoncon.com. Also, you can check them out on Facebook and on Twitter at PlayOnCon. You know, that goes without saying. I am TJ Dudley, and as I leave you all on this particular episode, here are a few picks from PlayOnCon in the recent past. So enjoy.